Brilliance Audio presents Trouble Brewing by Suzanne Baltsar, performed by Carly Robbins and Will Damron.
Raising the glass to my lips, I kept my eyes on Piper as I drank. She came highly recommended from Dave, my distributor, and after my first taste of her beer, I wasn't disappointed. The light, hoppy brew was refreshing, and I really appreciated the surprise hint of lemon. I finished and licked my lips, her attention pinned to my mouth. If I said I didn't relish her eyes on me, I'd be a liar. But truth box? I'd watched a few episodes of Sex and the City with an ex-girlfriend. It wasn't the worst show. But Piper never had to know. I like it, I told her, holding up my empty glass. It's different than usual IPAs. She nodded and turned to my friends, waiting expectantly. Connor shrugged. Good. Bear went off on some tangent about the hops, and I shut down the hearing part of my brain to focus on the seeing part. Piper was pretty, tallish, pale oval face, and freckles on her nose. But what stood out was her hair, the color of a ripe red apple, and her eyes. I'd never seen eyes so big and green before, innocent and wild all at the same time. When she looked at me, it felt like a quiet challenge. She didn't back down when I met her gaze. "I'd love to be able to grow my own hops," Piper said to Bear, answering whatever question he'd asked. "I just don't have the room right now. Maybe when I get a bigger place with more land." When he nodded, she popped the top of the next bottle. "I call this one Brunette Beauty. It's an imperial stout." She poured the beer into new glasses and gave one to each of us with a smile. "Is that a little bit of coffee I smell?" Bear asked. She nodded. Connor finished his in 2 gulps. "I don't like it." "Of course you don't, McGuire," Bear elbowed him. "A thick stout like this is for the discerning beer drinker." Piper brushed my arm as she walked behind the bar to rinse out Connor's glass like she owned the place. "Stouts aren't for everybody, but I think you'll like this next one." She cracked open the bottle. "It's a classic amber ale. I call it Natural Red." Bear snorted a laugh. "Natural Red, huh?" She pushed the sample toward him. "Yep." "Like you?" "Like me," she said, threading her fingers through her hair. Bear smirked, and I knew that look. The one that said an inappropriate joke was on its way. "You got one named Firecrotch, too?" My jaw went slack, but before I could speak up, Piper beat me to it. "I thought you were supposed to be the smart one. I expected something more original from you. But if you'd like to discuss crotches further, let's talk about what's hiding in your drawers. Something just as hairy as what's on your head?" Connor sputtered out a laugh as Bear grinned and nodded. "I like your spirit, Red." She met his fist bump and then looked at me as I tried to hide my appreciative glance down her body. But by the color staining her cheeks, I suspected I wasn't as slick as I thought. I redirected my attention to my drink. It was crisp with a nice malty finish. "I love this one." "I do too," Bear said. Connor shrugged. It's all right." Piper wasn't to be dismayed. She bent over closer to him, stretching diagonally across the bar, inching ever closer to me. She smelled like beer and fresh laundry. Who knew that combination smelled so good?